Ah. Double-decker greatness. That's a scene change.
16 years old when I went to the war to fight for a land fit for heroes. God on my side and a gun in my hand, chasing my days down to zero.
God on my side and a gun in my hand, chasing my days down to zero. I love how those two lines sit next to each other, because you talk about war and signing up for war like when you're 16, and especially in those days when it was glorified, because I'm guessing we're 1916, so we're talking about World War, right? So everyone has this romanticized view of warfare and what it is, and you think you're on the right, and you think you're going into it with God on your side. But really, there is a dark truth to war, and that is the death and violence that comes with war. Chasing my days down to zero. And this man's voice, I'm telling you, man, just like the grit to it. It's like rolling down a gravel road. I could see him doing like opera. Like he's just got that deep, rich, fulfilled bass to it, man. I could listen to his tone all day. It's amazing.
Chasing my days down to zero. And I marched, and I fought, and I bled, and I died, and I never fought, and I bled.
That seems out of place. It's like we're combining two different time periods here.
And I died, and I never did get any older.
Never. Like even the way that he just enunciated never, it's got like this Viking tinge to it. Like I am ready to go just plunder and pillage villages with this man. I will do anything for him if he tells me to do it in this voice.
I died, and I never did get any older. But I knew at the time that a year in the line was a long enough life for a soldier.
So true though. A year in the line is a long enough life for a soldier. Like you'd be lucky just to make it to a year going to war. Even today, man, I love how it's so beautifully sung, but at the same time, we're not shying away from the darker truths here. Like we're just really being raw with the language and how we're writing this.
Time that a year in the line was a long enough life for a soldier.
The Allies marching through.
We all volunteered and we wrote down our names and we added 2 years to our ages. Eager for life and ahead of the game, ready for history's pages. And we brawled and we fought.
Man, eager for life. Oh, the dripping irony of that statement. You know, adding 2 years because you're so excited. You feel like you're going to be a man now. You're going to go claim your glory. And this, again, was the wartime propaganda and the way that it was portrayed and the way that many wars have been portrayed through the years. You know, good versus evil and come fight on the side of the light. And we are going to prevail and we're going to overcome. And you too can be a hero and grab your glory and sort of that innocence and testosterone pumping of youth. Let's take it all.
Pages, and we brawled and we fought and we fought till we stood 10,000 shoulder to shoulder. Our thirst for the run, we were food for the gun. And that's what you are when you're soldiers.
I got the right. I was thinking this, like we've got all kinds of different places and time periods. So this isn't just World War. This is just commenting on warfare throughout the years. And these lyrics can apply to whichever one you want to apply them to. But again, that line is just so raw. Food for the gun.
You are when you're soldiers.
Hang on, there was a line before that too. I wasn't sure what he said. I want to listen one more time. Thirst for the Hun, like Attila the Hun, and the Huns like riding forth for conquest, like that same thirst for blood and glory and war.
And that's what you are when you're soldiers.
Yeah, there's even like medieval crusades back there too. Yeah, we're representing. We got the Romans. You had Revolutionary War times, all kinds of different wars and expeditions. Wow. Motorhead. Is this a Motorhead cover?
I heard my friend cry, and he sank to his knees, coughing blood as he screamed for his mother.
Oh.
And I fell by his side, and that's how we died, clinging like kids to each other.
You know, I love the way that comes around now. Like, we're seeking glory and we're going to be our own man now. You know, there's sort of that sentiment behind it, adding 2 years to our age, wanting to be older. But then isn't it ironic that at the very end now, we're kind of reverting back to being kids. We're clinging to each other like in childhood times, being friends, and we're screaming out for our mother like a kid does. But in this case, we're screaming out because, well, that's it. You know, we're on the edge of life. Wow, it's so powerful. I mean, you just add these amazing electric guitars behind it, the strings, his voice, like, man, I just love everything, the full package to this. Like, I'm so excited. Like, it's adrenaline pumping to me. And I just love the sound sonically. But at the same time, you start to think about the lyricism and digest it. And it's fucking depressing, too. I mean, the thing is, right, before we carry on, with this just rise and fall, I love, again, I keep tuning into the production of this because it really does kind of uplift and inspire you. Like, it feels like emotionally it should be doing that, right? There's this sad beauty to it. And that's so much in the same way as wartime propaganda and governments have utilized and displayed it as throughout the years. So I love that sort of production value and sentiment, like that rising up. It's not like it's a scaled back, like simple piano or something, and we're just singing these sad, depressing lyrics. No, we're doing it over such a rise and adrenaline pumping rush and heavy hitting percussion and sounds and everything. So for me, it hits that much heavier because it's almost like the music's supposed to take you here, but then the lyricism takes you back here and kind of like grounds you and balances you out. But now it sounds like we're dropping down. We're about to get introduced to some of the strings here and really scale it down. But that's a hell of a shot, man. Haunting. No battlefield experience ran into a hailstorm of machine gun fire at the Battle of the Somme. So many died at the Somme. What a horrific battle. Friends, neighbors, relatives, workmates, mostly northern communities, enlisted with the promise to be able to fight alongside one another. Yeah. 57,470 casualties. Gained just 3 miles. That's wild. One man was killed every 4.4 seconds, and the largest loss of life suffered by the Allies in a single day. And really, the Somme achieved nothing. I think I remember too at the Somme, it was supposed to be a greater offensive at the Somme, and they were supposed to have more support from the French, but then the Germans had launched their own offensive, so the French had to take basically all of their troops and then send them this way. So then it was just relying on the British and Canadian and Aussie forces at the Somme, and yeah, it was just a horrific bloodshed, and casualties suffered on both sides. And they were supposed to be coordinating the Somme attack, that's right, with the Russian advance in the east. So it was supposed to be, you know, a huge Allied coordinated effort. So the Somme originally had huge plans, and then they had to pivot on the Somme. And then literally they just decided to throw bodies at a situation. They were hoping to divert German forces and keep them distracted from the French and dealing with them further south. Oh, man. I love history. I'm going to have to go back and read about this now. Entire towns in northern Lancashire and South Yorkshire had a whole generation of men completely wiped out. Wow, that's crazy. My wife is from Lancashire, by the way. She's a northern girl. Motorhead. Yeah, that was the image, wasn't it? They're paying homage to Motorhead throughout. 1 million. Yeah. There we go. There was the Motorhead reference. So much goes into these videos. Ton of extras too. You think about costuming, makeup, the amount of people involved. I think we're done, right? Burning a metal army. Wow. That's dope. Just making sure we don't have any like Easter eggs at the end. Some amazing shots. I love too kind of the pacing of it, right? You start and you hear and you get teased with those marching drums, but they're sort of marching along, and you have almost a show of unity behind them, right? And sort of this mark of solidarity, much in the same way that a lot of these youths who signed up to go to war, you know, like they talked about in Lancashire and Yorkshire, and they were going to war with their brothers, with their friends, with those in their community, with those in their towns, and there was this show of solidarity. But ultimately, so many lives were lost and thrown away for a few miles of land. And it really is horrific when you think about it. And I just hope that we're not dumb enough in terms of society and mankind to face another great war like we had to face through this time period, because just the consequences are nothing to me values it and justifies it. And I love the way that Sabaton doesn't like dance around war. They don't idolize it. It's not like lifted up and celebrated. Like a song like this just bears the darker, raw truths and reality of it. And they're not afraid to walk that line. I think they do a great job of encapsulating the time period and sort of the mind frame and the psychologies from those period and what went into it and what the characters that they're describing experience. And then visually, the amount of level of detail to production and everything that goes into that. Sabaton, you were Knox Hill certified. Hope you guys liked today's video. Listen, for some reason here at the end, obviously enjoy the content. Do me a huge favor, support the channel directly. Subscribe, notifications on. It really does go a long way. Also, support the Patreon. More reactions, more content on there. A great way to get behind the channel and everything I do. I love you guys. Stay safe, stay positive. It's more only Knox Hill. You know, I'll catch you again.
In a house and I will wash the pots, I wipe the tops and spots and wait, stop. Where you going with this waffle plot? You helped an old ass hag, had a carpet washed? Oh dear, boo-hoo, what an awful job. But wait a minute, let me finish and we'll call the cops. Call the cops? No, the ops. What, she having a heart attack? No, sit back, relax, I'll recall the facts. Please, retell my story, that is all I ask. My neighbor once had a tea kettle. A tea kettle. A tea kettle.